Hello, my dear friends. Good morning. And we are back again to deal with the topic resources. And yesterday we studied about different types of resources. We said about natural resources, which can be divided into many groups. And we also said about actual resource, potential resource, and so on. And today we shall see about resources or natural resources which can be categorized into renewable and non-renewable. So natural resources that can be divided into renewable and non-renewable. So let us see what are they, what is renewable and what is non-renewable. So renewable resources are those which get renewed or replenished quickly. So when we speak about renewable resource, they can be replenished again. That means they can be filled again. We take out some resource and it will be filled again very soon. That is called replenishable or renewable resources. For example, some of these are unlimited and are not affected by human activities. Example, solar and wind energy. So we can use any amount we want. It will not be affected by our activities. For example, sunlight. Any amount of sunlight we can collect. Now we have solar panels are there. We store the solar energy into battery cells and we use it for light, we use it for a vehicle and so on. So any amount of sunlight we can use and it is not reduced. It comes again and again. The same way wind energy. Any amount of wind we can collect. So I am sure you might have seen windmills. In your textbook also it is there, page number 3. You can see here the windmills. So these are windmills. They will rotate, depends on the speed of the wind, and that will generate energy. That will be stored for different purpose, business purpose, factory purpose, and so on. So these two are examples of renewable energy. It will never get over. It can be used again and again. Then, yet careless use of certain renewable resources like water, soil, forest can affect their stock. So soil, water, forest, they are also renewable resource, but they are not like solar energy or wind energy. If you are carelessly using, for example, water, if you are very careless with water by throwing all the dirty things into the river and other and polluting the water, then there will be water scarcity. Or if you are taking out too much water from under the earth, then the water level of the earth will go down and all the top part of the earth will be very dry. Or if you go on cutting and destroying the forest, then afterwards there will be no forest at all. So if you are using very carefully, then soil, water, forest, all these also can go on for many years. For example, if you cut one tree and plant another tree, then it is not reduced, it remains. The number remains same. So same way soil, we should use soil properly. If you go on putting all kinds of fertilizers and we allow the soil to be washed away during the rain, like soil erosion, then after some time the soil will be useless. The good soil will not be there. So all these things are renewable resource, but at the same time, if you don't use it properly, it can be destroyed, it can get over. But the case of solar energy and wind energy, it will not get over. We can use it for many years. Then water seems to be an unlimited renewable resource. So water we can see it goes on coming in the rivers, especially during the rainy season. All the rivers will be overflowing and so. So water is seem to be an unlimited. But shortage and drying of natural water resources is a major problem in many parts of the country. So during the rainy season we have plenty of water, but once rain is over, most of the parts of our country is experiencing drought. There is no water for people to drink. Some of them have to walk many kilometers in order to go and take one bucket of water, and afterwards they have to go again. So whole day they will be only spending time to carry water. So we need to take care. We should not just think, oh, there's plenty of water, let me lavishly use it, let me dirty it, let me pollute it. If you think that way, then we may not be suffering, but some other people in our country or in other parts of the country, they are suffering. So we should not just think only about ourselves, but we need to think about others as well. Then another one is non-renewable resource. Non-renewable resource. That from the name itself we can understand. Just opposite of renewable. Renewable can be used again and again, but non-renewable cannot be used again. Only once it can be used and they will get over. So non-renewable resources are those which have a limited stock. Those resources which have a limited stock. Once the stocks are exhausted, it may take thousands of years to be renewed or replenished. So these renewable resources, once it is over, to get it back or to form again, it may need millions of years, not just 1 year or 100 years, but thousands of years or millions of years it will take. For example, the oil, the petroleum products that we mine out from the earth, it is formed after thousands of years. In olden times, the trees, the animals all went under the earth, maybe because of earthquake and other natural calamities. They all happened to be under the earth, remained there, and because of the pressure of the earth, they turned out to be minerals, they turned out to be fossil fuels and so on. So if you use them, it is getting over. For example, if you buy petrol and put in your car, as the car is moving, petrol is getting over. It can never be brought back again. What is over is over. That is non-renewable resource. So this period that we said, to get back this non-renewable resources, we need thousands of years. So that is much more than the lifetime of a person. A person may live 60, 70 or 80 or 100 years. But during his lifetime, he can never get back the resources that he finished up. It will take thousands of years to bring back. So during one's lifetime, it is not possible to get back the resources that he has used. Therefore, we say they are non-renewable resource. And whatever we finish is finished. It cannot be used again. Then, based on the distribution, we know resources are not found everywhere equally. Some are found in certain areas, or some are found in everywhere, but some are not found in any place at all. So based on the distribution, how they are distributed in different places, based on that we can divide them into two again. So they can be called ubiquitous and or localized. So ubiquitous means they are found everywhere. So some resources are there found everywhere and they are called ubiquitous. And some are only found in certain regions and they are called localized. So let's see. So resources that are found everywhere, like air that we breathe, are ubiquitous. So for example, air, wherever we go on this earth, air is there. And so air is an example of ubiquitous resources because it is found everywhere. You can underline what is ubiquitous, the resource that are found everywhere. Then those which are found only in certain places are localized. So some resources that are found only in certain areas, what do we call them? We call them localized resources. For example, copper. Anywhere you dig, you will not find copper. So copper is found only in certain places. Or iron ore. Throughout the world, we don't find iron ore. It is found only in certain areas. So copper, iron ore, gold, all these are examples of localized resources, but because they are not found everywhere. But the air that we breathe is found everywhere, therefore we can say they are ubiquitous. Now, the distribution of natural resources depends upon number of physical factors like terrain, climate and altitude. So we say based on the distribution, the resources are divided into ubiquitous and localized. So why these resources are not equally distributed? For example, we said we don't find everywhere petroleum products, we don't find everywhere iron ore, we don't find everywhere copper deposits. They are found only in certain areas. Why? It is mainly because of the factors like terrain. How is the land? Is it very steep or very slope, or is it a plain? So depends on the formation of the land. Then the climate of that place. Is it very rainy? Is it very cold, or is it very hot? So the climate also affects the formation of minerals. And the third thing that is affecting the formation of resources is altitude, the height of the place. From the sea level, how high is the place? So we can underline which are the three factors that are affecting the formation of resources. So the formation or distribution of resources depending on what are they? The terrain, then the altitude, and then the climate. So these are the three factors that are affecting the distribution of resources. What are they? The terrain, that is the shape of the land. Some land may be very hilly, some may be very plain. So it depends on the shape of the land. Then the climate of that place, maybe rainy season, may be very rainy, or maybe very hot, or maybe very cold. Maybe. Then the third thing is the altitude. How high is the place? That also matters. Then the distribution of resources is unequal because the factors differ so much over here. So we said these are the three factors that are affecting the distribution of resources. And we travel from one place to another, or we travel throughout the earth. Or even without traveling, we know what is the shape of the earth. Throughout the earth, it is not same. Some places it is always covered with ice. Some places are so high like Everest. Some places are so deep like Pacific Ocean. And some places are there mountain areas or hilly areas. Some areas are very plain. Or there are some deserts are there like Rajasthan, Sahara and so on. So throughout the earth, the physical features of the earth is not same, and that's why the distribution of resources are also not same. I hope you follow. So the physical features of the earth are different from place to place. Therefore, the distribution of minerals are also different from place to place. So that is a natural resource we came. Now let us talk about human-made resource. Human-made resource. So certain things we cannot use as we get from the nature. We have to use our technique, we have to use our intellect, we have to use our skill and make something else. Then that resource will be called human-made resource. Let us see which are the human-made resources or how they are made and so on. So, human-made resources. Sometimes natural substances become resources only when their original form has been changed. So, some of the things that we get from the nature cannot be used as it is. We need to change their form. We have to change them or use them into something else. Only then we can say they are being becoming useful, becoming a resource. So if they are not useful, we cannot make them at all. For example, the iron ore that we are mining out from the earth, we cannot use them at all, no use. But when we convert them or purify them and make it into iron, then they become very useful. Or the crude oil that we are getting from the earth, it is no use as it is. But when we purify them, we separate them into petrol, diesel, kerosene, then they become very useful. So all that is called man-made resources. We are not using as it is coming from the nature, but we are using our technology and we are converting them or changing them into something else so that they become very useful for us. So iron ore was not a resource until people learned to extract iron from it. So people learned by using their technology that from the iron ore we can take out, we can extract iron, and that iron can be used for so many purposes, for making house, buildings, bridges, and then big machines. So many, all the machines are made with iron. So people found out this iron can be taken out from the iron ore, then iron becomes a very useful. So it is man-made. It is man who is making. From the nature we are not directly getting iron. We are getting only iron ore, and from that iron ore we are making iron. Then there are other purposes like building roads, bridges, machinery, for making machines and for making vehicles. So all these are known as human-made resources. So all the things that are made by human beings, we can say they are human-made resources. And even the technology is also made, is called a human-made resource. So all the technology, there is nothing called technology. It is the people who made the technology by using their intellect, by using their technology, their skill and so on. So even the technology that we depend upon so much in this modern world, even that also is considered as a human-made resource. I hope you follow it. So we speak about the natural resources that are really coming out from the nature, like solar, wind, water, air. All these are natural resources. We don't need to do anything. Solar energy as it is coming, or the water, the air, all that is coming. But certain things like iron ore, petroleum, crude oil, all those things we cannot use as it is. We need to use our technology and we need to convert them into something that is useful. Then it is called human-made resources. So from the iron ore we make iron, and with that iron we make so many things, vehicles and other things. Therefore they are known as human-made resources. So let us see the box that is given in the side. You will find in your book about the make a list of 5 human-made resources that you can observe around you. So can you say 5 human-made resources that you will find in your own locality? First thing that you can say, vehicle. So many vehicles are there in your locality. That is a human-made resource. And what else? The house that you are staying in. You are not getting house directly from the nature. It is made by human beings. So house is a man-made resource. Then the tools that we use, the knife, that is human-made resource. Or what else? The food that you eat, we are not eating as it is. The grain that you get from the paddy field, we are not eating as it is. You do a lot of processing, at the end you cook and eat. So that food that you eat is a human resource. So like that, so many things you will find in your own places. Very few of them we use as it is, like air, water and so on. But other things we are making into something else, changing into something else and using. Therefore they are known as human-made resources. Then there's a little in that box information is there, GK, do you know? Human resource refers to number and abilities of the people. So when we say human resource, what do you understand? We'll study in detail about tomorrow. We are just today dealing with it. So it is the ability and the number of the people. So there should be more people means more human resource. And not simply ordinary people, uneducated or illiterate people, but people with good quality, with a good intellect, with a good skill. Then that is a human resource. Then though there are different views regarding treatment of humans as resource, one cannot deny the fact that it is the skills of the human that help in transferring physical material into a valuable resource. So we know human beings are not there means all these resources will be useless. So how to convert solar energy into energy for light or functioning of vehicles and so on. All that is coming from the intellect of the people, human beings. If human beings are not there, most of these resources will remain there as useless. No one will be there to make use of it. No one will be able to get the benefit of it. So it is because of the human resources like intellect, health and so on. That is what making people to use these resources and make a better use of it and benefit for the development of the society and so on. So for today we shall wind up today, and in detail we will study tomorrow about human resources. How human beings can become a resource. How human beings can help the formation of resource, conversion of resource and help the society to develop and so on. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day. Bye.